Today's guest told me that fewer than 10% of professional speakers ever make more than $10,000 a year. So, why do some break through while most never get off the ground? On today's show, we'll pull back the curtain on what truly separates the great presenters from the rest, from delivery and confidence to commitment and the power of building a real, true following. Ready? Let's go. Today's guest, Bob Reish, has been on stage in classrooms and consulting over 17,500 hours. He's won multiple awards, and he has over 30 plus years helping thousands of professionals and leaders. I'm going to let him take it from here because he'll do a much better job than I will. Bob, the floor is yours. Tell us about your journey.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I love when people ask me that question. My journey is real simple. It really started back in high school. And a lot of people raise their eyebrows to that, but it really did. And I remember Coach Cook, one of my high school basketball coaches, came up to me one day and he put his arm around me and he said, "Bob, I think you'd make a better wrestler." And as at the time, I thought maybe he's, knows something I don't. But really, he wanted me off the floor because I was a horrible basketball player. So what did I do? I went and wrestled, which I wasn't much better than that. And I remember as I wrestled, I lettered, and I was out on the mat. And I think I lettered because my coach did feel sorry for me. But I did get through high school. I went to DeVry, got an electronics degree. And if anybody knows me, I don't work with my hands very well. I'm an expert in taking a 10-minute job and turning it into 2 hours. However, I became an electronic technician, and it was amazing when I started working with my hands in the electronics field and the telecommunications industry. My boss came up to me, and what did he do? "Bob, I think you'd make a better trainer." So he stuck me in the classroom primarily so I wouldn't break anything, but he didn't realize that's where I found my passion. I found my passion training people and teaching people and taking what I knew and helping other people become better. And that was really where everything started in ministries, in the technical industry, and also in the insurance industry with many other industries as well. And every time I go into any type of industry or any type of corporation, I always end up in front of people. Why? Because I have a passion of helping other people become better. And that is where I'm able to shine. And that's where I love to be. And that's where I've been for the past 30 years.
Well, you're in the right profession. I got to tell you, I kind of thought maybe that guy was going to come up and say you should be a wrestler instead of a trainer. I was waiting for that line. But good. It's funny. I always feel like a book finds you. You don't find a book.
Right?
But Bob, I think a profession finds you. You don't necessarily find the profession, and
I agree.
you're kind of living proof. Let's jump on that 10% number. Okay. So you told me, Bob and I had a preliminary call, and it really kind of made my jaw drop. It told me, Rob, 10% of professional speakers make more than $10,000. And so why? Why do you think the gap is so wide?
Well, this is where a lot of people struggle. And a lot of times people think that being a professional speaker means having a stage and a mic. And it's so much more than that. And when I talk about professional speakers, those people who are paid to be on stage, and really there's a lot of different groups of people. There's a lot of different people in different areas. And one of the areas that we see is we have the professional, people that are famous, presidents, who make hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have actors, we have people that movies were made about them. And they get on stage, or we have a few big names that they make a lot of money and they have a lot of fame. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people see. They think, oh my goodness, this is where the money is. This is where I can be. This is where I can get my fame. This is where I can make tons of money for doing what I love to do. And really, that's where the fallacy happens. That's where the emotion sometimes fails people because emotion doesn't understand reality. And sometimes people think, oh, if I could get on stage, if I can help so many people, I could definitely make something of myself. And this is where so many beginners, so many people who start their professional careers don't understand that there are so many speakers, there are so many people that want to speak, and so few stages. So many people who want to get paid for what they do don't necessarily make the money that they expect to make. They may get on stage for free or they may do small things, but they don't understand that being on stage is not necessarily what everybody is doing. And this is one of the things that we talk about when speakers want to make a full-time living at speaking. A lot of them don't realize it's not because they are not gifted the reason that they don't make the money they expect. It's because sometimes they've lowered their standards. Sometimes they don't understand what it means to be on stage. Sometimes they don't understand the cost that it takes to prepare for being on stage. Sometimes they just have a passion and sometimes they just want to be there. So because of where people are at in life as beginners, as people that are just starting careers, many of them realize that there are a few stages, there's a lot of speakers, but many of them don't make the money that they expect. And one of the realities that I have found in my experience that less than 10% actually make more than 10,000 a year because they're in other areas, they're doing other things, but a lot of times that's where the disappointment sometimes happens for speakers.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's almost a side hustle for some people.
Right,
So they'll lead with it, but it's a side hustle. And
right,
this is not the business for a side hustle
correct,
because your side hustle better be marketing, marketing, and marketing if you're looking for one. But so let's stay there for a second. You said
right.
something that was interesting. You said you think that they lower their standards. I would think they would at least try and do the opposite and increase their standards. Because if you're going to compete with, and I work with some of the bureaus,
Hmm.
if they're generals, they're politicians, they're famous athletes, but we'll sneak in there, guys like you and me, Bob.
Hmm.
Not easy. But we are in no way lowering our standards to get in there. Matter
Hmm.
of fact, the bureau is whispering in our ears, raise your standards and
Hmm.
raise your fee while you're at it.
Right. What we talk about here at the Caveat Institute, we talk about the caveat standard. And we talk about what makes up that caveat standard. It starts with clarity. And it's really about consistency and conviction. Are you clear between your ears? Are you clear of where you want to be? Do you have that clarity? Do you have the consistency? Are you consistently thinking the way you need to think? Are you consistently doing the things that you should be doing? We talk a lot about entitlement versus discipline here at Caveat Institute, where entitlement is the sum of impatience and and addiction. And really what that means is we want what we want when we want it now, when we're not willing to wait for it. And yes, that really brings in a dopamine hit, but oftentimes it's negative. Where on the other side, we talk about discipline, doing what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. And when people are willing to wait, it's amazing what happens. And when people are clear about what they want and what are they willing to do to get it, it's amazing what happens. We talk about that consistency and we talk about conviction. When they get on stage, you mentioned a side hustle. One of my pet peeves is side hustle. So many people say, I have a side hustle, and basically it's something that they do on the side to make a few extra dollars. It's that I'm a coach on the side to make a few extra dollars. As a business coach, as an executive coach, it's my passion. It's what I do. It's what I live for. And I always say is when you start a business, when your business is started with your passion, when it started with something that you really love, and that hobby and that conviction turns into your business, it's so much better because really people believe who you are and what you do, not just doing something on the side. And one of the things we always say here at Caveat Institute is excellence doesn't happen by accidents. It's built on clarity, consistency, and conviction. And that's one of the things we believe here at Caveat Institute. And we have the bureaus, we have a lot of training opportunities for people, but do people really understand how their thinking really determines what they believe? Their belief will actually be determined into their actions, and then you have that successful outcome. But really, it all happens starting right here between their ears.
Yeah. It's interesting listening to you, and I appreciate your energy, by the way.
Well, thank
It's
you.
one of the things I love about this show is when you speak to speakers, you'll know it because you don't have to ask them to speak up.
Right.
Uh, so I'm really appreciating your cadence right now. It's not lost on me. Uh, but I almost feel like this is a game. I remember they had the games where you could train an athlete
Hmm.
and you could make them real fast, but if you put all the energy into speed, they weren't
Uh-huh.
as strong, they weren't as
Right.
coordinated. So you sort of had to separate it out. So follow that analogy with me a little bit, and
Okay.
let's separate it out
All right.
from because you're right. This is not a career of side hustle,
Hmm.
but you have delivery, you have talent,
Right.
you have mindset.
Right.
Okay. And I can't put 100% in each bucket.
Right.
I want to.
Hmm.
We a heck of a speaker if we do. But if you were trying to figure out and how we parcel this out,
Hmm.
what do you think is the most important pieces here?
Consistency. I had a friend who was a Major League Baseball umpire on the AA level, and he asked me one time, he goes, Bob, what is the difference between a rookie baseball player on his first day and a Hall of Fame Series champion baseball player? And we talked about it, and he goes, they all have skill. They all have passion. They all have knowledge of the game. They're all fast. They all throw hard. They all can bat. They all are strong. And he listed all of the physical attributes, and that's not the difference. He goes, what is the difference? The difference is consistency, being able to do the same thing over and over and over and expecting the same result. And one of the things at Caveat Institute that we teach is insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, where success is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same result. So when you take that concept and you bring it into what is the definition of a Hall of Fame baseball player, one of them is the ability to have a lifetime 300 average. When they have a lifetime 300 average, they're in the Hall of Fame. But what does that mean? They were successful 3 times out of 10 at the plate. 7 times they would fail. But this is the difference is when you go to the plate, are you expecting to hit the home run or are you expecting to strike out? And when you look at Babe Ruth, who had 714 home runs, but he also has set the record for the most strikeouts, which still stands. He's number third on home runs, but he still holds the record for the most strikeouts. But what was the difference with Babe Ruth? Why was he so great? It wasn't because striking out 7 out of 10. What was it is when he went to the plate, he expected to hit a home run, and you knew that because he held the bat to the fence. It was all between his ears, and this is where so many speakers struggle: is what is their expectations? Are they consistently doing what it takes to get where they need to be in their thinking and the way they think? Where clarity, you know your message; conviction, you defend your message. But when it comes to consistency, that's where you live your message. And are you really living that message of, when I go to the plate, I'm going to be 3 out of 10, which is Hall of Fame, but do I expect perfection every single time? And that's where Vince Lombardi, I love to quote him when he says, you always expect perfection, but you'll always get excellence. Your expectation is perfection, but excellence is the best you have. And the expectation of perfection will always increase your excellence.
Yeah. Amazing. And it's funny when you start talking about that 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10,
Mhm.
3 out of 10 gets you into Cooperstown,
Right.
and 2 out of 10 gets you $16 a day for meal money and a bus,
Absolutely.
to your double or single A park.
Great vacation.
And but as you said, it's not really 3 out of 10. It's 30 out of 100.
Mhm.
It's 3,000 out of 10,000.
Absolutely.
It's a consistent number. And one other thing and I'm with you on this, although a little different. Because whenever I ask a question like that, I'm playing along too. I'm trying to figure out how would I answer Bob's question.
Hmm.
And I know one thing. I wouldn't fall for the talent part mistake. Everybody thinks, oh, you've got to be very talented. I've seen amazing speakers that have taught themselves how to be great. They
Hmm.
were not natural athletes, so to speak.
Correct.
So I'm not buying the talent part.
Hmm.
I do heavy up on the delivery side on my Rob Jollis how to be a speaker game at home. All right,
Right.
I'm loading up, not all the way, but I'm coming strong on the delivery side.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean something you've seen in the movies or anything.
Right.
Delivery that fits your personal style.
Right.
So I'm not saying the funniest person.
Right.
We got to hear you, but I mean committing to your own style and just being a master of your own delivery.
Hmm.
That one I play high too.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. All
I
right,
love
let's
that. Go
keep
ahead.
rolling.
Go
We've
ahead.
got you confidence. All right, well that plays a big we got to slide the confidence in there a little bit.
Right.
Uh How much do you think is built of confidence is built through preparation versus just personality?
100% preparation. I will tell you that I am scared to death to go on stage. I'm scared to death every time go on a coaching call. It's based on fear. And that fear is something you can allow to cripple you or propel you. And the reason that I allow that to propel me is we teach that the opposite of fear is complacency. So when you have these people that say, "Oh, I don't have any fear. I can go on stage. I have no fear." What happens is that they're not allowing that to prepare them. They're not allowing that to help them be who the best they can be, and they go on stage and they make mistakes. They make the small mistakes. They make things that they may not expect. But when you have that fear and you have that little butterfly in the middle of your stomach, it makes you prepare. It makes you be the best you can be. So you're going on stage ready. And this is one of the things that so many people struggle with is when I coach, I have coached thousands of times. I have spoke thousands of times, but every time I get on stage or in front of somebody, my thought is, I hope I can do this. It's not necessarily the lack of confidence. It's I want to make sure that I am the best for them. I am listening. I am zeroed in because they deserve the best that I have. And what happens is that fear makes you prepare. That fear makes you focus. And when you don't allow that to work, complacency sets in. And this is where so many people struggle. Those people on stage, those people in front of just one-on-one or in front of 10,000. And this is where I really zero in on with clients is it's really about understanding who you are because the reason that most speakers fail isn't because they can't speak. It's because they can't decide what they stand for. They don't understand why they're on stage. Are they on stage for them or are they on stage to help their audience be better than they've ever been before? And that's one of the things that we do as a Caveat Institute is we help people become better. We help people have that significance that you are more focused on helping someone else become better than your own self. And when you're able to do that, then you become significant and not just successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the short answer to just about every question, if you really look at it, is somewhere along the answer for me is always, well, what's the audience thinking? What's the
Right.
audience? The word audience
Hmm.
always comes to mind. And
Hmm.
as a side note, I was talking to somebody who's getting ready to retire after
Hmm.
many decades and decades, and has said, uh, and it's a club trainer, by the way. That's
Right.
not a professional speaker, but it's the club trainers teaching classes are performers. They're part of our family. They're part of our tribe. They got to get up there and be consistent and bring the A goods, etc. And
Hmm.
we had this discussion because this trainer said, well, I don't want to make a big deal of it. I just want to leave, and that'll be the end of it. And I said, yeah, I know that's what you want, but you have
Hmm.
an audience. You have people that followed you for decades.
Right.
We have to take care of them, you know.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the answers really don't. It's not what about us. It's about the audience.
Hmm.
I'm really loving what you're saying in terms of commitment as well. I'm not one who likes using the word fear a lot.
Hmm.
I don't like the word nervousness. It's the more we get to know each other, and I think all pros, professional speakers this way, we have our little quirks of words we use and things.
Right.
Doesn't make us right or wrong. Believe me, it's almost OCD for
Right.
many of us at this point. But uh, I don't like the word nervous because that's me chewing my nails. I
Hmm.
actually love the word anxious. You substituted that for fear
Right.
of I always want to have that butterfly in my belly, as you say,
Right.
because if you want me nervous, it would be about being flat. So
Hmm.
we want that. And there's that opposite of for a novice trying to get away from that anxiousness and that
Hmm.
fear and listening to two professional speakers say, not so fast.
Right.
We can use that.
Hmm.
We don't have to fear it.
Hmm.
We can utilize it. So I'm with you on that. Uh, how about commitment? There's another word that you've been thrown around. What does real commitment look like for you, for a speaker? I know what it looks like for me. What does it look like for you?
If you want to stand out as a speaker, stop asking, how do I get more gigs? Stop asking, how do I get more stages? Stop asking, how do I make more money? And start asking, how do I raise my standard? It's all internal. And really, how do we really start that commitment? Because it starts in the mirror. It starts that person you see every morning when you wake up and every night when you go to bed. And those are the three takeaways I always say with that is number one is clarity. Write your message in one sentence so a fourth grader can understand without asking why. And what that does, it makes sure that you really understand your message. If you're not clear about what you stand for or who you are, nobody else will. Number two is consistency. Live it daily, don't perform it occasionally. And then that conviction is powerful. Stand by your values, even when it costs you something. One of the classes I love to teach is how to be a professional, how to be a perfect speaker. And people take the class thinking I'm going to be perfect. And one of the things we talk about is if you are nervous or you are fear or anxious, don't try to get over that. Understand that that combats complacency. And it's funny when people take my class, we give them all the different things, what to do, how to look, all the different things on stage. It's very technical. Then they see me on stage and they go, Bob, you're not a perfect speaker. I said, of course not. Here's the difference. When you understand what a perfect speaker is, you understand when to stop doing what you shouldn't be doing, where before you didn't know. So, what it does, it makes you very intentional. It makes you very focused and it makes you very prepared. Going back to Vince Lombardi, strive for perfection, you'll always achieve excellence.
Right. Yeah, I wrote a piece once called The Pursuit of Imperfection. And I wrote it because, again, it's that instinct versus logic.
Hmm.
Instinctively, we want to be perfect. The
Right?
problem is it's not logical. First of all, I'm not sure it's obtainable, but let's pretend it is. How in the world could you relate to, there's that word again, the
Uh-huh.
audience out there? I went through a slump in my life once, Bob, where my evaluations were going down a little bit, and
Hmm.
I thought I was amazing at the time. I was kept getting better and I knew it. I
Hmm.
flew a Xerox instructor out with me and he said, "Yeah, you're amazing. You're real good." You're not relating to the audience anymore. Nobody out in that audience is perfect. And yet you're trying to be perfect. You want to
Hmm.
be relatable to that audience. I never forgot that lesson, and I'm with you. It's something that you'll see that will be an instinct of the people that we work with,
Hmm.
but we can prove to them it just isn't logical. Logical. How many talks do you, different types of talks do you deliver?
I don't know, many. You know, it seems like every
Lots.
one is different
Yeah.
because I don't focus on what do I need to say when I'm on stage and what do people should hear. I focus on what is their issues, what are they coming in for, and when they leave, what is their expectation of leaving with? If they never ever see me or hear from me again, what value can I leave with them? And
Yeah.
that brings me to one of my favorite quotes. One of my principles that I teach on a daily basis is leadership, whether it's speaking on stage or one on one as a manager or an owner or even in your family, is leadership is not about being followed. Leadership is about being worth following. And that's really where I want people to be is I see some value there that I want to take and bring back. And that's why my book coming out here, hopefully within about a month, is called From Greatness to What Matters, is so powerful because it's really my leadership strategy going from success, which is about me, to significance, which is about you, to the legacy, which is about future generations. And really, what is my goal in life? What is my vision? Is that long after I'm gone, my wisdom and my legacy will be embedded in future generations so they can also understand what leadership and who leadership is all about.
Yeah. Bob, can we pre-order that book yet?
Actually, I'm working on that now, but I will. But watch me on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn. I will set that link up as soon as the book is available. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on LinkedIn. It'll be on my website. It'll be everywhere. So that also leads me to follow me on LinkedIn. I have content every single day, but as soon as that becomes available, that link will be available on LinkedIn.
I'll tell you how well you're doing today. I normally let people, all right, we'll throw in the plugs at the end. Not with you. Give us the LinkedIn right now because they're going to need to know how to spell your name. Okay. So spell it.
Bob Reish, Reish. If you just type Reish, it'll say Robert, parentheses Bob Reish. You'll see my picture on there. There's over 30,000 followers on there, so you'll definitely see that. And it's everywhere. So I encourage you and welcome you to follow us on at Caveat Institute.
Good. I've been on his LinkedIn site. It's sharp. And I've been to your website as well.
Thank you.
Let's stay on the topic of the book. Is this your first book?
This is my third book. This
Okay.
is our most excited. I'm most excited about this one. This one's going to be really who I am in a nutshell when it comes to leadership. It actually started out with as my journey in leadership. And we wanted to make it not about me, but really about you, really about the audience. That's why we want to talk about from greatness to what matters, because we are taught to be great. We are taught to chase greatness. But it's really not about being great. It's about really what matters. And that's really what I believe when I'm on a stage. It's not about how great I am or what people may think of me. It's what really matters in their daily lives, what really matters to them. And that's who I want to be as a leader, is if I can help them understand what matters and help them become that leader, that's when it becomes very, very powerful.
Good. Now, do you see, let's talk about, okay, professional speakers and the book world, seeing as we've drifted over there, and I
Sure.
like the drift. Uh, do you think, I'm going to answer the question I'm asking you,
Okay.
then you answer it too. I'm just trying to,
Okay.
so I don't spend 10 minutes on the question. I look at it as a credibility booster. And I also will tell you that most of the bureaus won't touch a speaker without a book.
Right.
It can be self-published, whatever, but we got to have a book in our hand. Uh, I see it as a marketing tool, a credibility tool. You see it as a legacy tool as well. I see that
Yeah.
as also, but am I missing something in terms of how important a book is for a speaker?
Oh, it's so important. It's once you're able to be as a published author, it changes the world pretty much when it comes to reputation. That's what people are looking for. But really, I like, yes, it's a marketing tool. It gets you on stage. You can use it to increase your credibility. You can use it to give other people an opportunity to understand who you are and see your wisdom, and there's financial financial value there as well. But I really like what you said on the last one. It's really about legacy. It's really about what can I give future generations. And although those other things are true, when you focus on taking care of other people as a leader, when you focus on how can I take care of someone else, they will always take care of you. So all those things are true. However, if I'm going to be known for one thing with my books, I want those books to help future generations understand my heart, my convictions, my clarity, and my commitment to helping others become better.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Yeah, you can. It's really almost impossible to write a book where you don't have a fire about that topic. I'm
Absolutely.
sure as you've got a couple books on your belt, you're going into your third, you get people that come up every now and then. It's one of the funniest conversations for me because I've had this so many times. People come up and go, "I always wanted to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I really want to write a book." Okay, what's the book about? Well, that I don't know.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, but when it's time to write a book, you'll know
Hmm.
because it's not a casual thing. It's an idea that keeps us up at night. I mean, it
Hmm.
really worms its way in.
I think you really hit the nail on the head. Where I want to write a book. I want to write a book. What do you want to write a book about? I don't know. I think that's why so many speakers struggle. I want to get on stage. I want to get on stage. Why do you want to get on stage? I don't know. It's
Mm,
really that passion, because me being on stage, it's not necessarily something I want to do. It's what I have to do. It's my passion. It's something that I have to do. Writing my books, even though that the process is not one of my favorite processes to do every day, however, it's something that I have to do. My second book, which is called Innovation and Leadership, you can actually find that on caveatcoach.com. The link is on there. It's an ebook. It's going to be republished here in about another year on a few other bigger platforms. But innovation and leadership is really how people become successful and have that external influence, but it also starts right here. And from greatness to what matters it takes that concept and it really makes it a lot bigger. Why am I writing this book? Because people need to understand what it means to be a great leader, starting from success to significance to legacy. And the reason I say that is everything I stand for is about becoming a legacy. And I want people to see my heart, be able to know my heart. And these are to people that I can't reach. And that's one of the reasons that we have this book coming out.
right, right. Xerox believed so completely that leadership would actually come from training. And I don't mean as in the audience now, I mean to take their senior people and make them trainers so they
Hmm.
could become better leaders.
Hmm.
That was the process for management. Not it wasn't a guarantee, But one of the key moves they'd make, and we had at one point the second largest training facility in the world. We slept
Mhm.
1,100 people in our facility. We
Right.
weren't messing around. But to be a trainer there, you had to be a top sales rep. And when
Hmm.
you were brought in as a trainer, it was for only one reason. So that when you left after 24-month assignment, you go out as a manager
Hmm.
because they felt that, and it was true, that you're going to learn more about leadership by running a classroom of 6 to 10 people every
Hmm.
week and swap them out. You'll learn about people. It was
Oh,
brilliant.
yes. Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Last question for you. Uh,
Mhm.
if someone listening right now wanted to cross that line from passionate speaker, really wanting to be a good speaker to a paid professional, and I know we're not chasing dollars here with
Right.
you, but what's one commitment they should make today, in your opinion, to start that journey?
Find a coach, find a mentor, find somebody who's done it. Find somebody that you can go and say, what do I need to do? What do I need to learn? Because even in the business world, people ask me all the time, what do I need to do to start a business? And I would say, find a coach. Whether it's me or someone else, find somebody that you can actually look to that's actually done it. And it's amazing how there's lots of opportunities, but so many people miss them. Why? Because a lot of times they don't have it here. And I remember my coach when I first got my coach many, many years ago. I remember he changed the way I think. He changed the way I saw things. And that's one of the reasons we started Caveat Institute is because we do things different. We think different about money. We think different about the stage. We think different about books. We think different about business. Find somebody that you can go to that can help you become better. And that's really the crux of leadership is we have to become successful so we can have that experience. But success is not all about becoming. Success is about giving. And I love the significant side of leadership is because I get more passion and I get more excited about watching someone else become greater, watching someone else become better. And that's really what leadership is all about is not becoming, but having someone else become. And when you can find that person, you can connect with that person. It's amazing how magical that becomes. Prepare, discover who you really are. What is your message? People don't know what their message is because there's so much content out there. And unfortunately, people get on AI and just type something in. Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge, but what is your message? And I always say the litmus test to knowing your message is if you can say it to a fourth grader in one sentence and they won't ask why, they understand it, you understand your message. And one of the reasons that people struggle is they don't understand their message. One of the reasons that people do really well on stage is they really understand their message and other people want part be part of that message.
Beautiful. And when you understand your message, as simple as this sounds, Bob, but it's something from one of my books. Uh, when you want to be believed, tell the truth.
Absolutely.
And when you tell the truth, the body, the face, everything else follows. So
Hmm.
you have to, you're not, reason why you get a coach, the reason why you keep working is because eventually you look in the mirror and go, I am damn good at this. I,
Hmm.
I do know this material. I am ready for this audience and they're going to find tremendous value in me. When you don't hold your breath and say it, but you believe it, oof, I want to watch that presenter. And I don't, you don't have to be the funniest guy in the room. You've
Hmm.
already got a head start, but you got to believe.
Hmm.
All right, my
And
man.
that's so true, not only on
Yeah.
stage, but as a coach, as a manager, as a parent, as a friend. It's amazing how powerful that principle is in any walk of life.
Yeah. We're lined up on that one as well. We were lined up on. Sometimes I like getting into little discussions and arguments. I couldn't disagree with pretty much anything that you said today, which
That's
makes you
awesome.
a very wise man, Bob.
Well,
A
thank you
very
so much.
wise man. Well, you're part of the Robert Club. You had to know a few things coming in. How do people get a hold of you other than LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is a great way. The other way is caveatcoach.com. That's my link tree. You can find my website. You can find my phone number, emails, everything about me, all of my links. Go peruse those links, pick what you want. Caveatcoach.com. You can find everything about me on that. And also follow me on LinkedIn. You can find my content each and every day. I'm always putting out my heart, who I am, what I believe, and my message every single day comes out on LinkedIn. But yeah, caveatcoach.com. You can find everything you need.
Yeah. And you can see why a guy like Bob is so much better on a podcast than a blog. And I mean that nicely because we can't feel the passion in the blog. And I'm a blog writer, okay? Uh, but I love having these kind of conversations. Bob and I met each other through LinkedIn, but we had about a 15-minute conversation. I got to tell you, we went about 90 seconds and I was already starting to fill out the form of how do we get Bob on the show.
No pressure.
Just thought you did a terrific job and really brought some wonderful insights to the show. Very grateful for having you on. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate
And
it.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Well, we'll do it again as well as we can next time, everybody. Until then, stay safe.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please follow, rate, and review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. For more resources and to connect with Rob, visit thepresentationwhisperer.com.